Hello everyone, today I will be introducing the very basic modes of Tetris. So right now you can see I am not logged in, and you don't need to log in to play. You can play as a guest, and right now I'm in a public lobby. So this is the first mode of Jstris, which is live mode. Here you have all the other people you're playing against. So basically in live mode, you're trying to top out the other players while surviving, and the last person survives is the winner. Next we have sprint mode, which is basically so I chose 20 lines, which is basically means you want to clear 20 lines as fast as possible. So 4 lines, 100 lines, 1,000 lines, you want to clear those number of lines in as fast of time as possible. Pretty self-explanatory. Next we have Jstris, which is basically you see in each line there is a hole, and your goal is to clear all 10 lines as fast as possible. So you see if I clear that, I have 9, 8, 7, and once you get to 0, you win. And your goal is to do this in as little amount of time as possible. So I'll save map downstack for later. Next we have survival. Basically, it has the same mechanic as Jstris, where each line has a hole in it, but as the name implies, your goal is to survive as fast as, or for as long as possible. Next we have Ultra, which is basically you have 2 minutes and you want to score as many points as possible, and the amount of points you earn depends on what type of line clear that you did. So let's say clearing one line doesn't give you a lot of points, but let's say if you clear 2 lines, 3 lines, or a Tetris, you get more and more points, and your goal is to get as many points as possible in 2 minutes. Next we have 20 T-spin double mode, which is well, I wouldn't recommend it for beginners, because basically you want to clear 20 T-spin doubles in as quickly as possible, or you could really just go for as many T-spin doubles as possible. And the difficulty with this is that you're not allowed any other types of clears. PC mode, PC stands for perfect clear. So in this mode, you're trying to go for as many perfect clears as possible. And this is also not recommended for beginners because there are certain setups you need to do in order to get a perfect clear, and without proper knowledge of them, it's basically useless to really play PC mode. So next we have practice mode, which is just practice. You can just do whatever you want. You can practice your setups, you can practice, sprint if you want, you can practice stacking. It's just practice without a goal. Next, you have bots. So this is pretty interesting. You can actually play against a bot. So here, you can add different bots. You can change what type of, you can change it to 10 pieces per second, which you will never beat. And you will just lose because it places 10 pieces per second. But this is a good way to practice if you don't want to play live, and you just want someone to keep sending you garbage for whatever reason, just for practice. It's pretty useful. So next we have some interesting rule sets. These are, well, it's just for fun. You have big mode, where all your pieces are big. And you have pentanmo mode, which is just weird. Instead of each piece consisting of 4 blocks, you have each piece consisting of 5 blocks. And I've never actually played this mode, but it looks very, very scary. Finally, you have NPH, which, well, it basically you can't hold, and you don't know what your next piece is. So this mode is actually quite useful for practicing a sort of good stacking patterns. And you might also notice that, well, it doesn't use a 7-bag system. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. And next we have the aforementioned map downstack. Here you can browse different maps created by different users, or you can create your own map, and you can sort them, and you can always play the egg. And the goal for these maps is basically to clear the map as fast as possible, and you clear the map by clearing all the pre-placed lines. So you don't need to end the game with no blocks on the screen. You don't have to end it with a perfect clear. You just have to clear all the pre-placed blocks. So you have to get rid of this entire egg in as fast of time as possible. So those are basically all the modes of Tetris. But down here, you can actually see some more stats. So time is pretty straightforward. Time is just how long you've been playing this mode, I guess. Attack is, well, it's how many lines you've sent or cancelled. And this is most useful when you're playing multiplayer, because you can see how many attacks you've sent, you know, how well you're doing. Finesse is basically how many extra movements you've made more than the ideal. So let's say I want to hard drop this piece, but I move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see finesse goes up a lot because I could have just hard dropped it, but I moved the piece unnecessarily. So if I rotate like that, I get a bunch of finesse. PPS stands for pieces per second. It's pretty straightforward. If I just place a lot of pieces, it'll go up. KPP is basically keys per piece. So if you see I just hard drop, if I just hard drop a piece, I have 1 KPP because, well, I only pressed 1 key, which is the spacebar. Generally, when you're starting out, you might get a PPP of maybe 3 or 4, and well, every single key you press contributes to KPP, including hold and hard drop, and basically any other key you might press, and it's usually used to measure efficiency. And next you have the number of lines, so it's basically how many pieces you've dropped. And that's about it. A very basic introduction to Jstris. And so now I hope you all can practice and get better.